Are you ready to see Priscilla? With all the buzz surrounding Sofia Coppola's Priscilla Presley biopic, we're all wondering what really went on behind the scenes and how these stars were able to embody their iconic characters so well. Luckily, they're more than happy to share their experiences. Casting actors for a biopic about stars that everyone knows is never easy. The actors have to be not only talented, but they need to be capable of transforming into a real person. Both looking the part and fitting the vibe. There was a lot that director Sofia had to think about when casting Elvis and Priscilla Presley before she landed on Jacob Elordi and Caeli Spaeny. As for Priscilla, the years of her life that take place in the film span from her early teens to her 30s.
I really wanted one actress to play Priscilla, and she had to play from 14 to 29.
She had many fans in the biz who recommended her to Coppola.
She has this baby face. She can pass for 15. She's just so thoughtful, and I knew that she would approach this with sensitivity.
It's clear that Coppola was confident that Caeli was the woman for the job. Now, as for Elvis, the role's requirements were a bit different.
The idea of Elvis is so daunting. Nobody looks like Elvis. He's such a big character, and it was really important to me to not have a caricature.
Still, Jacob managed to fit this very specific bill.
And when I met Jacob, I felt like he has just a charisma and the feeling that I could feel that he could pull this off and be a teen heartthrob. And that had the sensitivity to show this other side of him.
Coppola did a perfect job casting these difficult-to-cast roles with Caeli and Jacob Elordi. But the lead's acting skills weren't all it took to make these transformations complete.
For the first time as Elvis and Priscilla together on set.
And it was just as much fun for Elordi to see himself put on the Elvis costume for the first time.
He FaceTimed my mom and me and my agent, and I think it was this, I was like, oh, it was totally ego.
Still, Elordi's transformation into the king of rock and roll went beyond the costume.
If you want to see like an Elvis impersonator, you can go to Vegas. It was about catching the essence of this person. The biggest thing for me was trying to identify and find where the human being was under all the glitz and the gold and the voice and the caricatures.
It was surprising, however, to see the small ways the costumes, hair, and makeup made the actors feel like their characters.
For me, it was down to when we had all the jewelry from the estate, and it would be when I'd sort of clasp the ID bracelet or put the horseshoe ring on. It was like the kind of final touches.
These details had a different kind of effect on Caeli.
There were times when I had that beehive on where I'm like, I actually can't move any other way than this. I don't really have any other options in these heels. So it definitely informed a lot of how I held myself. Yeah.
So it's safe to say that the costuming department made quite a difference in how these characters were portrayed.
When Jacob walked in the comeback special, the leather suit, we were all like, oh. Yeah.
That's not all that made the transformations work, though. For Caeli, meeting with Priscilla Presley herself made a major difference.
Priscilla was very gracious with her time. We met in Los Angeles. The first time we met, we ended up talking for about 4 hours, so just tried to sort of sit back and see how much she felt comfortable telling me.
Luckily, Priscilla was very open with Caeli, and this helped her in her portrayal.
Just being in front of her and in her presence was so informative in how I tried to do my own version of her story.
And if meeting with Priscilla Presley to accurately tell her story wasn't enough, she also watched the movie for the first time while sitting next to her. Caeli called this
absolutely surreal.
It's clear that Priscilla Presley felt the same herself. According to her, it's very difficult to sit and watch a film about you, about your life, about your love. She was eager to help, though. She said Sofia did an amazing job. She did her homework, we spoke a couple of times, and I really put everything out for her that I could. Priscilla knew right away that she trusted Coppola with the job.
Of course, I was never going to say no. Your whole family, actually, so talented and knows how to tell a story.
And Coppola took this unusually difficult task seriously.
For me, it was such a big responsibility to tell her story in a way that she would feel good about it. Now I was also thinking about something that represented her in a way that felt accurate to her.
As far as Priscilla was concerned, though, Coppola pulled it off.
And I was really so relieved, and it meant so much to me when she saw the film and said, that's what my life was like.
Elvis's biopic, Elvis, premiered less than a year before Priscilla, so of course there was some stiff competition for Jacob Elordi, who was coming up against Austin Butler's popular portrayal of the star in Elvis. Luckily, this didn't intimidate Elordi.
There's no real space to be daunted or afraid. It's one of those things you hear, I think, from actors all the time, that you want a challenge, and this certainly was it.
It's easy to see why Elordi wasn't intimidated by any prior portrayals of Elvis. He managed to pull the role off perfectly. And there was quite a bit of work that went into it.
I mean, there's a lot of boring hours and stories of homework, really, is what it is. There was a lot of information to kind of rifle through.
Still, it's clear that this was some homework that he loved doing.
Just a ton of research, but it was all a joy, because you're really like listening to some of the best music in the world, watching some absolute classic movies.
It's clear that the actors couldn't have pulled it off without director Sofia Coppola.
I was really, really lucky to be working with Sofia, who kind of put my fears at ease immediately.
And she managed to bring the Presleys' story to life.
It's kind of what the world that Sofia built catered towards, was finding a truth that hasn't been seen before, opening the door to Graceland and inventing from fact what we thought the real people might have spoken like.
Do you think these famous faces were well cast? Was it right for Jacob Elordi not to be intimidated by the rival Elvis? Let's discuss it in the comments. And for more videos like this one, be sure to like and subscribe to The Things.